I am now
That's good.
recording it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the reminder.
All righty. Thank you guys for being here today. My name is Kelly. The kids call me Miss Kelly, and I'm in my 5th year at ISD. I absolutely love the campus, and like Alan said, it's all about community and diversity, and it's just a really fun place to be, and I think you guys are going to love it once you get here. I wanted to introduce you to Liz Den Hartig. She is our elementary assistant principal, and she is in her 2nd year at ISD. She has an extensive background in English language learning as well as early childhood, and she's really just such an incredible asset for us. This is Brad Chumra, who happens to be my husband, but he's also the PYP coordinator. That means he's kind of the boss of the curriculum, and he helps us with what we're teaching and what we're learning. A couple of really important faces for you to become acquainted with are Paula Trayor and Laura Egaros, who are our elementary school counselors next year. We're really excited to have both of them on board. Laura will be joining us new. And the gal on the left, Paula, she's actually an ISD alum. She went away, she came back, served as a teaching assistant for a while, went away again to school, came back as an intern, and now she is just thriving in our school, and the students love her, and I know you will too. A couple of other important people for you to know, just heads of department here, so you know a bit about who's doing what. Aja Sacco on the left is the head of our elementary student support team. And so she is working with teachers, coordinating support for students in one-on-one groups, small group works, students who are excelling, moving up a bit too. So just working with a wide range of students. All of our students are included in the regular classrooms, but sometimes need a little extra support. And so she's the person in charge of coordinating that. Sebastian is our head of the French department. We offer what we call a French exposure program. That means our students have 45 minutes of French a day, and he is the person coordinating that schedule. I also really want to encourage you all to join the PTO. This lady here up in the left-hand corner is Alex Gifford, and she's serving as our PTO president right now. PTO is a really good way to get to know other parents. You guys kind of come in all together, and if a bunch of you join PTO together at the same time, it's a nice way to bond. And we found that a lot of our families do that. They come together in these PTO meetings, they have fun, they get to serve our community in really creative ways. Here, for example, Alex is sitting under the pagoda near our field where the students are working on mosaics to build a garden pathway. And so she was a big part of making that happen for our families. They also help us with our field day. You see the kids off to the right in their colored t-shirts. Field day is a big fun day at ISD where all of the kids get to engage in sports activities, and it's a lot of fun. Anyway, PTO, it's a great organization. They meet on Wednesday mornings. I think right now they're meeting online at 9 a.m. and I'm sure they will invite you. So we are a PYP school, and some of you may know what that means. Raise your hand if you're already, or wave at me if you're in a PYP school already. It's hard for me to see you all. Okay, so PYP will be new to many of you, and PYP stands for Primary Years Program. I thought about the best way to explain this to you because it does take a little while to explain it. I thought maybe just by sharing this photograph with you, it might launch a good conversation. So these girls are in the 5th grade. One of them has been with us since she was in kindergarten, and I met her when she was a 1st grader, and now she is in the 5th grade. So she has been with us for quite a while, and she is the product of our PYP program, and she's really thriving right now. And in just a minute, I'm going to tell you what she does. But another student just joined us a couple of years ago, and a 3rd student 3 years ago. One of them came in speaking no English at all and is now communicating in English in complete sentences, actually discussing deep concepts. And she's just been with us for such a short time. So really proud of our English language learning program. And she's able to access our curriculum, our program of inquiry quite easily. So these three kids are at the end of their PYP program because they're in the 5th grade. And once you're in 5th grade, you get to do what's called an exhibition. It's kind of a culmination project at the end of your 5th grade year, where you bring all of the things that you've learned when you were in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and so on, about being a good citizen, about having agency to take action, to do important things in the world. And they're pulling all of that together. It starts with them discussing what it is they're passionate about, what they care about. What these three girls had in common is that they all love art. How many of you guys like art out there? Kiddos, I know, I do too. So they all liked painting and drawing and all sorts of different things. They knew that part of their project was going to be that they would have to take some sort of action. That's part of being in a PYP school. And they wondered if there were any artists who made art that actually caused people to take action. And so they were doing some research, and they actually found that there was an artist right here in Senegal who does that all the time. And his name is Stephen Senghor, and that's the man in the picture. And he really wanted to, I don't know, make Senegal a cleaner space. He cares about the environment. And so he's encouraging people to fill up these little plastic bottles and big plastic bottles and large plastic bottles with trash. And eventually these become what he calls eco bricks. And these eco bricks then become walls and tables and furniture and artistic projects. So that's what these girls are into right now. It's all been it's just part of their journey. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with that big pile of eco bricks, but these girls are standing in the middle of our garden where I think they're planning to build a table and perhaps some planters out of these incredible eco bricks. And then later in the year, they'll be sharing this with the rest of the community, hopefully teaching the community about recycling efforts around Senegal and somehow infusing a bit of art as well. So it kind of all comes together, their passions, the things that they care about, taking action. Anyway, I'm really proud of these kids and all of our 5th graders. So it's not just these 3 students that are doing this. This is our entire 5th grade class. And I think there are 16 or 17 groups. So that's why PYP. Definitely has a strong backbone to it with a strong curriculum, a scope and sequence, all of that. And if you ever want to talk deeply about that, I'm happy to have a conversation and explain about the different standards that we incorporate into our program. I might just share this in the chat after I close up this slideshow, and then that way you will have access to our program of inquiry too. When I talk about a program of inquiry, what I mean is that at every grade level, each grade is doing different units of inquiry. I just talked about the 5th graders doing one specific unit of inquiry, and every grade level has 6 that they do, and they revolve around who we are, where we are in place and time, how the world works, how we organize ourselves, how we express ourselves, and how we share the planet. Okay, there's a lot more to it, but I only have 10 minutes and I'm already over. But again, just a reminder that we really want our students to to have a voice and be able to practice agency in their learning and get to have some say in what they do and what they study. I know you're also really interested in just the logistics of like, what does the school day look like? So I'll just briefly tell you that now. The students arrive in the morning, the daily schedule it's being discussed right now. I'm hoping that it will be at 8:10 in the morning. It could possibly be a little bit later. Students will arrive and then they go to their classrooms. And a typical day for a student would look like a literacy block where students come together. They might have a morning meeting, then they would do their literacy. Also remember that because we're a PYP school, all of their reading and work that they're doing is integrated into whatever big idea they're sharing. If it's about sharing the planet, perhaps their reading and writing that day has to do with that. So throughout the day, at some point, the students will go to art or music or PE, and they will also go to French. And in addition, about once every 6 days, the counselor will visit their classroom, one of the counselors, and they'll have a social emotional learning session. And so we try to provide times for the kids to have snacks throughout the day, snack and a recess. They'll have 45 minutes for lunch and recess. And we also incorporate after school activities at the end of the day. Of course, this might look a little bit different because of COVID, but we are finding lots of good workarounds. We'll actually be starting our ASAs this month for the elementary school, so we're very excited about that. I know another big question for parents when they first come in is like, what is my kid gonna eat? So we have a really good canteen called Ensemble, and they have really nice healthy options. I think you get to choose from 2 different options a day. So when you walk into the school, this is where you enter. And after you enter, you look to your right and you see these 2 friendly guys, and they have the menus there. And that's where you sign up for what kind of food it is that you want to eat for the week. And then they take your menus and keep track of them, and they will actually deliver the food to wherever the kids are going to be eating. Parents, this is where you will pay for the food. So you'll actually pass those 2 guys, walk across the field over to the canteen where you can pay. And you can pay by the month or the week or the day or whatever is going to work best for you. We have an open house that will be probably on the 23rd. We'll be sharing some details with you on that, but that'll be a chance for you to get to know the teachers ahead of time. There will probably be an online component as well as an on-campus component, but we will just have to let you know as that date draws near. But definitely want you to be able to come to campus and meet your teacher and see what your classroom is going to look like before you actually start. And definitely mark your calendar for August 24th, the first day of school. We're going to be really excited to have you. And I think, I don't know if I should take questions now or if we should stop and keep going. What do you want to do, Susan?
So we have a small video on our PYP program. I'll share my screen.
Sorry, guys, I was talking a lot.
PYP is also known.
Hello? Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. I'm just going to share my screen now.
Known as the Primary Years Program. It's the first program in a series of 3 programs that the International Baccalaureate offers.
I'm sorry, are you guys seeing
It's
it?
designed for children from the ages of 3 to 11.
Are you guys seeing it?
We can't see it.
Oh,
To me, the PYP is
Susan, I don't know if it's that important. If you want, you could maybe just put the link in the chat and I could answer questions.
So
I I talked a lot, you guys, and kind of fast. I don't even know if it made sense. So if you have questions, that's
Kelly,
great. Go ahead
so
and
I think it's
Mhm.
important that we play it. So
Okay.
yeah, Alan, could you just help me?
Yep,
set it?
I'll play it from my screen. How about that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll give this one shot here.
The PYP is also known as the Primary Years Program. It's the first program in a series of 3 programs that the International Baccalaureate offers. It's designed for children from the ages of 3 to 11.
To me, the PYP is all about nurturing curiosity. Students get to really own their own learning. They get to investigate the things they care about and explore the things that really make them curious.
It really allows students to make a choice in what it is they want to learn.
The essential thing is that it presents the universe as a place where you can explore as many things as you possibly can. PYP is based on inquiry, but I would think that a better suiting word is curiosity. It's a curriculum that allows students to explore who they are within the classroom, to figure out what connections they make to the curriculum, the connection between the curriculum and the real world outside.
Teacher in the PYP, you really have to think, what is the bigger understanding?
One of the 5 essential elements of the PYP is action. One of the actions I look for the most is a change of heart or mind in my students as a result of what they've learned. As I design units of inquiry, I'm thinking, how do I want my students to be different at the end of this?
It's really an awesome framework, and it comes with endless opportunities for learning.
All right, there you go. It is in the chat. If you
She read 30 books in 30 days.
sorry.
Can you imagine a book a day for a month? I wanted to.
There we go. So the link is in the chat. If you had trouble streaming that in, please do take a look at it. What I find fascinating, I've been here 7 years, and the best part of my job is seeing the kids grow up. We did this a couple of years ago, and to see some of those young faces now they're much older is really kind of cool. We designed this session really to try to answer your questions. We try to anticipate what you'd want to know at the beginning, but certainly as you contemplate coming and being at our school. So what I would invite you to do, how we do it here, is that it tends to work best for us if you put your questions in the chat and send them to everybody. I'll moderate a little bit and send it to people as they come in. And I am particularly interested in the questions for our students or our prospective students, because I know they'd have a lot of questions as well. So they can put it in the chat, or if they want to ask their question, you can raise your hand virtually and I will call on you. Kelly, let's start with this one. There's one question here in the chat. Are kids allowed to bring along their own lunch?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely, kids can bring their own lunch. You don't have to just eat from the canteen.
Okay. Question about transport for children at school. At this time, we do not offer bus service. Our students live all across the city, and the students, the parents are responsible for providing transportation. On average, how many kids per class? Is it just one teacher, or do you have an assistant teacher as well? Kelly?
Yep. Yeah, so every classroom has one teacher and a teaching assistant, and typically we'll have between 15 and 20 students in a classroom.
Is there a swim team? Most definitely. We have a swim team. It typically ranges from grade 3 to grade 12. It used to be only one season, but one of the projects we have going on at the moment is the expansion of our pool. In addition to going from 4 lanes to 6 lanes, the most important part is that it's going to be heated. So despite many of the belief, Senegal weather, if you haven't researched it, while August, September, October, part of November can be quite warm, believe it or not, it gets a little bit chilly in the winter season and our spring season. So we do need a heated pool. All right, now we're popping here. How many pre-K4 classes do we have? We have one pre-K4 class at the time. Elliot would like to know if we have to wear a mask at school. He would also like to know if we have a large garden where he can run and a pool to swim. Elliot, at this time, we do have, students are required to wear a mask. One of the things that we will be considering for the fall is whether or not our elementary students do need to wear a mask. And that will be basically determined on where we are in our vaccinations and those types of things. But whether or not elementary students have to wear a mask is certainly something we'll be discussing over the summer. Do we have a large garden where he can run and a pool to swim? Better than a garden, we have a big, massive green field that is out there that you can run around. We have a big sand playground. And as I said, we definitely have a pool, plus some outdoor courts and some indoor courts. We really want our students to have the ability to run and play. There are 2 elementary recesses, and so there's certainly plenty of time for that. I think one of the best parts about our school is that our families can use the pool, use our facilities after 4 o'clock or after school on a daily basis and on a Saturday and Sunday. So it's quite often for families will come in on a Saturday, have the kids play at the playground or the fields or the pool. So it really is more of a community center. All right, Kelly, the question here about a weekly meeting in the classroom to assess emotions. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah. Yep. So our counselors come to the classrooms once every 6 days, and they do what's called an SEL lesson. And SEL stands for social emotional learning. And so we know that social emotional learning is just as important as academic learning. And in fact, we know that when kids make mistakes or they have emotional challenges, that all is part of learning and very developmentally appropriate. And we want to make sure that kids know how to manage their emotions and manage their feelings in such a way that they can get along with their peers and know how to advocate for themselves. And so that is why we have our counselors go to the classes. Our counselors also work with individuals one-on-one and sometimes in small groups should they need a little extra support. I mean, we all face different challenges in our life at different times, and something might be happening in your life or your family where you need a little extra support. And Miss Paula and Miss Laura will be more than happy to help you with that. I hope that makes sense.
I actually think I saw Miss Laura sign in at some point. So she's going to be an ISD mom as well as one of our elementary counselors. Do we have ballet classes? We offer ballet as part of our after-school activity program in normal times. A part of our new athletic complex is we're actually building a dance and yoga studio. Dance in many different forms is pretty important here. So I would imagine we would restart it next year at some point, maybe not in September, but at some point. Do we have a speech therapist? We do not have a speech therapist. A number of our students do require this service, and they found it fairly successful doing it by Zoom. It's one of the things we've been learning to do through COVID is accessing services through that. And so a number of our families do utilize speech therapy outside the school. Kelly, music programs. What music programs do we offer?
So you get to have music every 3 days of school. So it's really fun. Miss Lee is the music teacher and she has soprano recorders and she has drums and xylophones and all kinds of fun instruments that you get to play. You get to stand up on bleachers and sing songs and do dancing and have all kinds of fun in music. right now, this week, Miss Lee has a local artist who is visiting her classroom, and all of the students are getting to drum with him and learn how to do some fun Senegalese music. So that's been great, and all of our kids just love music, and we often try to have different performances throughout the year. We've toned that down a little bit because of COVID, but we're really hoping to increase that again this coming year.
Thank you. We just got a slew of questions, so I'm going to walk through them here. Can we please expand a bit on the COVID protocols? This person lives in a country, haven't had presenting school for over a year, and about the screening process for deciding the level of the kids. I presume the second part of the question is about screening for the admission process, not necessarily screening for the COVID. So our COVID protocols are based on really two major fundamental pieces. Number one is we do require everyone to wear masks. We've been questioned why we ask our younger students to wear masks. They're certainly, the science tells us they're less likely to get it. And if they do get it, they're less likely to have a severe case. However, what we do know is that the children can transmit the virus. And in order to keep our teachers and our teaching assistants and our staff safe, we ask the younger ones to wear the masks. In addition, we do have some of our families live with older relatives, and it could be very possible for a child to transmit it to another child who could transmit it into the home. So that's why we're wearing a mask at this point. Like I said, if vaccination rates amongst our community are at a sufficient level, then we can look at removing that. So that's pillar number one. Pillar number two is that if any member of the household has a COVID symptom, every member of the household has to stay away from campus until everybody is symptom-free for 24 hours. In the normal year, if children are sick, they should stay home anyway. But we found that this has significantly helped us prevent from having to quarantine cohorts of students. This year we do cohort the students, meaning they're in a group of 20, and we very much limit the mix between them. We found some ways to teach French in person by keeping the cohorts separate. So that's the third part, is the cohorts. When you come onto campus, you walk through our walkway, and they have thermal cameras to make sure nobody has a fever. We have a truly outstanding medical unit staffed by Nurse Jen, James, who's a physician assistant, and we're actually bringing a third nurse if needed. And they work with the parents and the students as needed. So the protocols of always wearing masks, people staying home if they're sick, has worked for us. We have a significant advantage over a lot of schools around the world. We are what I call a tropical campus. What that means is there are no internal hallways. You open the classroom door and you're outside. The kids can freely eat lunch outside. We've set up tables with some clear plexiglass. They can sit on that. They can take off their mask. Our teachers have become really good at mask breaks. And that gives us a really huge advantage. Our kids are not trapped indoors the whole time. They don't have to eat indoors the whole time. It's worked for us. Like I said, we as the number of cases in Senegal has gone up and gone down, we've seen the same rates here amongst our community if we're counting our parents. The biggest thing that we're seeing, though, is we believe the kids are safer on campus because they're wearing the masks. And we have seen cases where kids, when they've been off campus, they're not wearing the mask. So like I said, we'll do a full review of this over the summer, looking at what the science tells us and the vaccinations, and then we're looking that there may be a possibility to adjust some of it. In a worst case scenario, we're prepared to open, we know how to do it, we know how to quarantine when needed, and so your kids will be able to come to school on campus. Kelly, what after school activities do the children have access to?
There was a little more to that question too that had to go.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Screening.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to address that first.
Sure.
I'm happy to take that question if you want, but.
I'll take thank you for pointing that out. Why don't you talk about it, Kelly?
Yeah. So we have an admissions team, which is made up of Ms. Susan, who's here. She's our boss, and the assistant principal, the counselor, and the head of the learning department or student support team. And we look at every application, and we consider the languages that students speak. We consider what school they've gone to. We consider their age. what their experiences have been before they've come to ISD, and then we consider what would be the best fit for them here at our school. And also we might think about what kind of supports we might want to put in place for them as they enter. And so every child is unique, and we look at every single case as an individual. And sometimes we reach out to the parents and ask parents for more information about their child. And sometimes it's really obvious for us where the student will fit, and it's an easy placement. But it's an in-depth process, a lot of discussion. We care deeply about all of the kids and making sure that they're comfortable coming in. And I saw another question about language. For example, if you have a student who's in the second grade who doesn't speak English or French, I can understand why that might be very concerning to you, and you be coming in a bit nervous about what that will look like. Please know that that is the case for several of our children. We have lots of kids who come in mid-year or at the beginning of the year without English or French, and they are okay. We put them in touch with our English language learning teacher, and that teacher then helps by teaching them some survival skills. It's kind of like boot camp, you know, for these newbies to English. And there are several kids in that group, so they're not alone. They have friends who they get to become close with, and they're learning right alongside with. And so it's very appropriate and normal for us to have students come in not speaking English. So please don't worry about that. It might be a little bit hard. I remember that as a parent, and for my daughter going to a school where she didn't speak the language, it is challenging, but very possible. And there's lots and lots of support, so no need to worry. The question about the after-school activities, I'll just name a few: robotics, coding, dance, creative movement, clay, sand art, drama, taekwondo, karate, circus art, soccer, basketball, jewelry, Legos, math club, all kinds of things.
Thank you. All right. Are we combining pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 next year? Our plan is to have separate classes. There will be a pre-K 3 with Miss Kathy and pre-K 4 with Miss Linda. Both teachers have been with us for years, and the children have a really great time with them. Kelly, carrying on or extending the conversation around for children who do not speak English, the specific question is for kindergarten. I would say one thing, Kelly's being a bit humble about it. We're really good at working with kids who English is not their first language, and we have many, many students come in with zero English when they walk in the door. Our teachers are well versed in that. They know how to work with those children, and I'm constantly shocked by how fast the children pick up the English. But Kelly, you want to talk about what you do for the kindergartners?
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys remember that picture that I showed you with those 3 kids. Remember that 2 of them, one of them has 4 languages at home. Another one has only been speaking English for the last 3 years. The first year that she came to, she didn't speak very much, but now she is fluent. She's doing great. So it does happen. In kindergarten, we really like the kids to be in the classroom for most of the day, well, for all of the day, right? But everything that they're getting in there is so rich in literacy, reading, and language that it doesn't really make sense to take them out of the classroom very much because they'll just pick up so much. Their brains are like sponges. However, we will have an English language learning teacher assigned to that grade level who will work as either a consultant supporting students who might be brand new to the language, maybe pushing into the classroom a little bit just to see how they can be helpful and supportive, whether it's just socially and emotionally or academically.
Thank you. Question about what has been our experience in children joining ISD from French international schools worldwide? Will there be any special support for their first few months? We are very experienced bringing in children from the French system. Lycée Mermoz is the French government school here in Dakar, has over 2,000 students. And we very proudly bring in a lot of transfers from that school. They come to us for a couple of reasons. Number one is the fact of that we have the really robust program of arts and activities and sports, as well as our focus on the social emotional well-being of our students. So we do bring in quite a bit of them. I would say in terms of any special support, I mean, again, if it's if it's a language based, the answer is yes. If it's sort of a set system for transitioning kids from a French system to an international system, at the elementary school, not so much. It's close enough that they can work within that. When you get to secondary school, the teachers and the counselors do pay attention to that, and that's part of the orientation process. Our curriculum, often some of the questions we get from the families who've been in a French system is when you move into a PYP environment, there seems to be less structure, or they're wondering, because the children have more say in what they're learning. That's purposeful and that's intentional because we think we want to create learners where children are asking their own questions, where they're coming up with their own answers. And so it may seem a little bit different around that. One thing I would advise any parent who's concerned about that is when you start talking with the teachers and administrators, if you have any specific questions around the difference between the French system and the international system, bring it up. I can tell you many of the families come to us from a French system and very few go back to a French system because they're really happy with what they get here. I have a direct question. Kelly, do you have a science teacher in the class? I think a child asked this question.
Yes, so your homeroom teacher is a science teacher, and through the units of inquiry, you're doing all kinds of science, running research projects. You get to guide and decide a lot of what that can look like. But yes, science is very important to us, and we have lots of kids in the garden right now doing biology kind of science. I wanted to say that in addition to what Alan was talking about, so much of what we do is in the primary, in the early years, is about play and learning through play and inquiry. So it looks like we're having a lot of fun, but again, like I said, that's important to learning, and we do have a really strong curriculum. And again, I said I was going to put that in the chat, so I'll do that now.
I have here a sort of an incomplete question. It says, Fatima is asking why? And I really want to know what Fatima's asking. So if Fatima's mother or father can retype that in the chat, I'd love to answer her question. Does the school offer gymnastics?
Oh, she's asking what type of food is available in the canteen.
Oh, okay, great. It's a really an international mix. They do everything. I eat there a couple times a week myself. You'll have a whole range of things from Senegalese dishes. There is occasionally a hamburger, international stuff. They can buy a few other things, sort of on the side, a la carte. It's fairly typical school cafeteria food, but it does reflect the international body of our students. Yesterday they had shawarmas on the menu. Gymnastics and dance. In the past, we have offered gymnastics and dance as part of our after-school activities. And dance has been a part of the PE program off and on. All right. Kelly, do we have a drama class or an after-school activity?
We do not necessarily have a drama class, but we do have after-school clubs, so you can partake in drama. And lots of times classroom teachers end up doing drama and skits and things like that in their classes as well.
All right. Adele and Celeste are excited to meet their new teachers and friends. Do we have tennis amongst the extracurricular activities? At this time for elementary school, we do not offer tennis. In the past on secondary school, we have offered it at a nearby athletic club. Why don't we offer tennis? It's actually an interesting story. Our school, where we are on our campus, we can't grow because the land around us is all purchased and we can't, as much as we've tried to get it, we haven't been able to purchase it. When we were debating our new athletic complex, and one of the things they talked about was, should we put 2 tennis courts on the roof of the gym? And if we did that, then the pool could only remain 4 lanes. And so it actually came down to, should we have a 6-lane pool or a 4-lane pool and 2 tennis courts? At the end of the day, the decision was more people use the pool and can use the pool at one time than the tennis courts. So we went with the pool. That'll allow us to have larger swim teams. Basically less than a 5-minute walk, 2-minute drive from the school is an athletic club where you can join and there are tennis courts there and there are instructors there. One of the things we often talk with our families about is one of the best ways for the kids to continue to develop their French is actually to join in with local activities. And there's a number of different ones around that. A couple of hotels in town offer also, you can get season passes for their courts. How is the school secured? We continue to enjoy support from the American Embassy. While we've moved away from the American school model, we do continue to enjoy their help with their protection. So the school has a wall and has, has appropriate security around that side of it. In addition to that, with the help of the U.S. Embassy, when school is open, we do have 3 policemen, gendarmes, who are here as part of our security force. We have our own internal security force, which includes 3 security supervisors who are retired Senegalese officers who worked in close protection. So my famous story about this is the U.S. ambassador came to visit us one day, and his security guard got out of the car, looked up, saw our security director, and went over to greet him and was really happy to see him. And as we came to find out, was our security director trained the U.S. Embassy's Senegalese bodyguard at their training facility for diplomatic security. And the U.S. ambassador looked at me and he said, "Why do you have the teacher and I have the student?" And my answer was, "It's for the children, Mr. Ambassador, it's for the children." So he accepted that. So our school is very well secured. We have contacts with the UN security offices, Canadian, British embassy. We have contacts through the French embassy. So we use a wide network. I also co-chair the Overseas Advisory Security Council for the city, which is a coalition of organizations across the city, schools, NGOs, businesses, and we share security information and real-time information. When we had some unrest in the city a while back, that our council was very effective in providing information around it. So the school is very well secured. How long is the school day? Ms. Kelly, that's the question of the day, of the week, of the month. What are you doing with our school times?
Okay, well, let's all keep our fingers crossed that our school day is going to be from 8:10 to 3:10. That's about 7 hours, but then if you're staying after school for after school clubs, or if you come to school early, it could be about 8 hours. And then there was a question, I think, about are parents informed weekly about what's happening? Yes, the classroom teachers send a note home every week telling you what's going on in class. We also use Seesaw and Google Classroom, so you can log on to those and see what's happening pretty regularly.
Kelly, there's one question here about art programs for 4th graders. Why don't you tell them about Miss Michelle's fantastic art program?
Yeah, she's great. As a matter of fact, we're just getting ready to have an art exhibition in the elementary. Of course, because of COVID, we don't have large groups of people coming to see this exhibition, but all of the students' work is being displayed in our new theater, and the students by classroom will get to go and view the work. So we'll actually film that, and we'll probably have some interviews with some of the student artists, and I believe that will be posted either through our social media or on our website. So that's coming up in the next few days. So keep your eyes out for that. But what kind of art? All kinds of art. Right now, kids are working, 4th graders, I think we're doing clay. I've seen painting, drawing, sketching, building, paper mache, all kinds of art.
Yeah. Some of my favorite ones is when we do bring in the Senegalese artists. One of my favorite art pieces on the school is that we have a huge mobile of metalwork. Metalwork is one of the things that Senegalese artists do. And the students went and helped design them, their birds. And the students did that. And then the metalwork artist went away and took the students' work and built it into a mobile. It's in one of the main hallways of the elementary school. It's really cool. Kelly, a question here about preschool diaper free. You want to talk about that?
Yes, please. We do ask that all the kids are potty trained before they come to school. Yeah, what we have done in the past, just to be completely transparent about it, is if a child does come to school and they haven't yet been potty trained, then we sometimes send them home and ask them to get trained up before they come to school. Give them a little extra time.
Elliot would like to know how many students are in the school. So from age 3 to grade 12, as of this moment, we have 720 students. Miss Susan, our admission coordinator, tells me that we're going to have more next year, and I believe what Miss Susan tells me because she's right on these things. Elementary, and it's almost equally divided between elementary and secondary school. So I think elementary is probably about probably around 350, and secondary school will be around 370, maybe a little more. Do the children have access to Ebbets Field? Ebbets Field is part of the recreation facility for the U.S. Embassy and their families. We don't have connection to it. And so if you're part of the U.S. Embassy community, then you have access to Ebbets Field. If you're not, then you have access to our fields, which I actually think ours are better because our playground's cooler, but that's beside the point. All right. Is there an aftercare program in addition to after-school activities? At this time, we do not have an aftercare program. All right. One question here is it possible to arrange an actual visit to the school under COVID protocols? Susan, you want to take that one? Susan Casima?
I didn't hear the question.
Question is, are you giving actual tours of campus, visit campus with our current COVID protocols?
Yes. So you'll have to schedule time with me, and then you can visit the campus.
Yep. Surprised we got through all the questions. So if you have more, this is a great time to throw yours in there. But Kelly, do the children occasionally go on field trips?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. We didn't do too much of that this year. Of course, we didn't have the kids going out into the wider community because of COVID, but certainly during the school year, we want to get those kids out as much as possible. And I've often heard Alan say that, like, yes, beyond the school walls, he likes to see our kids out engaging in our community. And so here are just a few places that we like to go. There's a turtle refuge nearby. There's the Loch Rose, so the Pink Lake. Some of you may have seen that online if you've been looking at Senegal. So that's a place we like to go and visit. But there are museums and there are artists and lots of good places to go and learn. And so yes, we do take the kids out.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody question came in a little bit late. Is there transport for elementary or secondary students? The school does not operate a bus service. Transportation to and from campus is the responsibility of the parents. Emma, who will be in grade 1, I like that name. That's the name of my daughter. Emma would like to know if you use iPads for anything at school, Kelly, in grade 1.
Yeah. Hi, Emma. I met your dad yesterday on campus. That was fun. Yes, we have iPads in grade 1, and you'll use them for things like posting pictures of your work onto Seesaw. You might be making a movie, you might be reading or playing a game, doing a math activity. Yes, we have iPads. Oh, good.
Do any of the children want to ask a question and speak the question? You can just raise your virtual hand or wave your hand to me. I'm not seeing it right now. I see some older students here, so they can also chime in. So we'll wait and see that. Let's see. Question about no aftercare program. Does the school have contact for nanny house help agencies that speak some English? It'd be good to share to help parents who may not be able to close early to pick up their children. A couple things around that. And this is often a question we get even for our staff coming in. The availability of people to help you in your house who speak English is going to be a little bit limited. There are some folks who do it, but obviously we're a Francophone country around that. Susan can share the link. We do have a ISD parent Facebook page that we can share the link with. And that's sort of our marketplace, if you will. That's when people come and they ask questions about how do I do this? How do I get that? How do I do this? Can share around that. There are no organized agencies per se. It's a lot of word of mouth. If you're coming in as part of an organization or an embassy or a company, it's often just asking around it. That's how our staff do it when they come in. They're just asking around who's available. You'll be surprised as when you move in, you may get a knock on your door within a day or two of somebody who was looking for work and looking for, to help you out in your house. It's just sort of this really interesting underground network around that. All right, I'm going to pause it from here because I have a student who wants to ask a question. So give me 1 second. Lara, why don't you go ahead and unmute? I'm not sure if that I see a little one who wants to ask a question.
Hi, my name's Michaela, and I'm wondering about just gymnastic lessons.
Okay. Hi, Michaela. Kelly, you want to talk about gymnastics?
Yeah, are we doing gymnastics lessons at the school?
You know what, your PE teacher, Mr. Carter, he loves gymnastics. That guy is running and jumping all around the campus all the time. And I love the way that he teaches kids how to do somersaults and cartwheels and things like that. So yes, you are going to get to do gymnastics in PE class, but also as an after-school activity, we do offer that sometimes. It just depends on the schedule. Are you a gymnast?
Yes. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Okay, Michaela. Matthew Green, why don't you unmute and let us hear from somebody there?
Hi, I'm Lila, and I had a question about the library. Is it like big or anything? What's in it? Or like what's in it?
Kelly?
Okay. Yeah, our library, I would say it's big. Yeah, compared to other libraries that I've seen and worked in, and we do have lots of books there. Sometimes our library is open on Saturdays, so you and your family can come check out books. I'm so glad, Lila, that you're a reader, huh? Yes, you can find lots of good books and lots of good books in the classroom too.
In full disclosure, I would certainly say the next major construction project, which we're getting ready to plan, is a significant expansion of our library. I'm going to jump back to a couple of questions in the chat, and then I'll come pick up some questions from those who want to ask them. Does the school provide computers? Our students, we are a one-to-one school from grade 3, grade 4, and grade 5 in the elementary school. They are Chromebooks. The teachers sort of manage in terms of whether or not the children take them home or whether they leave them in the classroom around that, but that is part of our academic program. And then in the pre-K through 2, there are iPads and desktops in the classroom. Matthias asks, are there any courses, activities for parents, for example, French classes? Off and on, we offer some different activities. In the past, we've offered some parenting groups. We've had a group of parents come together and talk about parenting and those types of things. French classes are widely available in the community. We have a French Institute here. There are private individuals who tutor around that. So that type of thing is widely available. Does the school offer after-school activities for pre-K 4? Why don't you answer this one, Kelly? And then, oh, I thought I had a hand, and we'll go back to a hand. Oh, I see a hand there. So Kelly, why don't you do the pre-K 4, and then I'll take some hands.
Okay, so yes, typically we take the first trimester off for our pre-K kiddos just because for many of them, the day just feels very long. They're quite tired at the end of the day, but once they've built up some stamina, by the second trimester, we open up after-school activities to our 3 and 4-year-olds.
Great. I'm going to go to somebody logging in on Jack and Lynn Fisher, and then we'll go up to Sophie. Sir, unmute yourself and let us know who you are and what your question is from the Fisher account.
Hi, I'm Jack, and we are arriving at the end of May. Are there any vacation activities to get to know the school before School starts?
So that's a great, I'm gonna mute you there, Jack. So a couple things around that. We are offering a summer camp. You can contact Miss Susan and Miss Kelly. Our spaces will go to our current students first, but if we have spaces, incoming students are welcome to join. It's 2 weeks after we let out, so it's starting in the last 2 weeks of June. If you are a new student and in country and fully registered and accepted as a student, we will be willing to issue you badges so you can come and use our facilities. Wouldn't be set programs, but you could use our facilities. And then of course we'll have the orientation activity starting in late August. But do contact around summer camp if you want. Sophie, up to you. Please unmute and let's hear from your little one.
Hello. Hi, Elliot had a question, but he's a bit shy to ask, so I'm going to ask it for him. He wanted to know if it's possible to have lunch in the garden.
Yeah, so we all eat outside. We love eating outside in the fresh air. And I'm not sure exactly where your class will be scheduled, but we're definitely going to get you into that garden. I can see it's really important to you.
All right. I have a hand raised from the account for, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Zen Badaway. Why don't you guys unmute and let us know what your question is?
Hi.
Hi, my name is Zane, and after school, how long can we use the pool?
How long can you use the pool? So it depends if the pool is being used by the swim team. If the pool is not if the pool is not being used by the swim team, then you can use it until 6 o'clock. On the weekends, the pool is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday for families to come and use.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Zane. Dama has a question. Does the school have scouts? I'm presuming we mean Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. There is no official troop as part of the school program. Every once in a while, we have a parent who offers it up, but at this time, I don't know of a scout troop in Dakar. Other questions? Any other of our elementary soap? Matthew Green, there you go. You're back. You guys have a question? Somebody from the Green family?
Oh, yeah.
We're entering late, and I was just wondering, like, how is it different from entering like at the beginning of the year?
Sure. Can I ask, when you say you're entering late, when do you anticipate entering?
January 22, most likely, or December this year.
Okay. Typically for our students, one of the interesting things around the post, around Dakar as a post, is we constantly have families coming and going. So one of the nice things around it is you're never the new kid for long. When students come in sort of off cycle, they're generally, the classroom teacher generally assumes the orientation part of it. Our students love to be new hosts. We just picked up a new family this past week. I believe she's in 5th grade, Kelly, and she has the other kids chasing her around campus to be her buddy. In January, we do a short orientation process around that. But one of the things I love about our school is how welcoming the other kids are. And so the students coming in, later in the year are often well taken care of, and it may even be a little bit easier because they're in much smaller numbers. We will have, we typically pick up between 180 and 200 new students a year. The bulk of them do come in August, but we generally will pick up about 30 students in January, 30 new students as well. I have a hand from the account Sally T.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm with Rahim. He wants to ask a question, but in French. Would that be possible?
Sure. Go ahead.
Vas-y. Présente-toi.
Bonjour.
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 Comment ça va?
Ça va très bien, merci.
Très
On
bien.
fait combien de minutes pour l'entraînement du foot?
Ms. Kusima, can you help me translate that one?
Yes, he's saying how long is the football practice?
Do we play football?
About 45
Yes,
minutes.
moi, si tu joues, au football. Yes, he does play soccer.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? One of the things I'll tell you, you know, football is actually the one language almost all of our students share. It's really interesting. There is whatever language you speak or don't speak, once they're on the football pitch, it's great. So our kids play football all the time, sometimes before school, certainly both recesses, and then it's a big part of our after school activity. So there's multiple ways to play football here.
Okay. Thank you.
Sophie Boutin, your hand's still raised. I'm not sure if you have another question or it's from before. Nope, it's come back. Okay. Let's go back to the questions in the chat. Do we have vegetarian meals? Yes, we do. That is part of it. Kelly, are parents allowed to have lunch with their kids sometimes?
It's not something that we do on a regular basis, but it could be arranged. Kind of depends on the situation. And also, sometimes the teachers like to have events where they invite the parents to come. And so there might be a reason, maybe they're going to do a poetry reading or share some work that the students are doing.
All right. We've been online for about 70 minutes at this point. We're happy to be here. We have another 20 minutes scheduled. Parents, students, any other questions that are coming up?
Are you doing your audio?
Are there music lessons at the school, or do we need to do individual lessons ourselves?
Kelly?
Are you thinking of like instrument lessons or singing lessons? Okay, yeah, those you might need to do separately. There is a band for older students, and the elementary music teacher would do a choir for sure. But like private lessons, you would have to arrange that on your own. But certainly we have opportunities after school for choir and band and that sort of thing.
But there's no orchestra?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there an orchestra?
No,
Or like a school orchestra?
No, we don't have an orchestra at this time.
Okay.
We have a band and choir.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yep.
I would say not yet. Maybe that's what you need to do is when you come here, you have to help us get one going, huh?
Well, the interesting part is at the secondary school level, they do incorporate string instruments into their band. So, all right. I'm going to put a last call out here for questions. The interesting part is some of our little kids, depending upon where they're staying right now, are hitting bedtime. Can you believe it? Some of you have just woken up and some of you are going to bed. That's pretty cool.
We're so excited to get you guys on campus and just getting to know you. Really looking forward to it.
The one thing I'll leave you with, if you hang up and you have any questions, Ms. Kusima is can answer any questions. She can put you in touch with Ms. Kelly or anyone from her team around that. If you have particular concerns about your child's learning needs, please do raise them with Susan so we can probably give you the right information around what we can, the types of students we can support. I'm going to give you the one thing I would encourage you, if there are families on this call who have not applied yet or in process, I would strongly encourage you to get your application processed. Is that we're fortunate that we're a school that sees strong demand, and there are times of the year that we do have classes that get full. So if you're considering us and you want to, I would strongly encourage you to apply now. If some of you have other members of your organization who you think are coming to the country, please do apply. I do foresee some grades filling up at some point in the summer. So we want to share our great program with all of you. So with that, given that I don't see any more questions, I'm going to thank you all for, oh, Miss Susan wants to talk and we do what Miss Susan says. Susan, what do you got?
I would like to thank everybody for coming. Today is Saturday. Everybody has had a busy week, but I want to thank you all for taking the time to come. For those of you who have kids in secondary school, we will have the secondary school open house start at 1:30 p.m. today. I'm so excited, happy to see the people that have been emailing for so long. I'm happy to put face to it. I can't wait to see you guys. It's soon. It's just maybe 7 weeks, 8 weeks before we see each other. Or maybe I'm too excited. Maybe 9 weeks. Yeah, this is really, really one of my favorite events. And I'm happy to already see you without masks. And I hope that when you arrive in August, there will be no masks. That's my prayer.
There we go.
Anyway, so thank you all for coming and enjoy your weekend. Feel free to email me or Kelly. We'll be happy to help you transition ISD.
So there's one last question in the chat that I may have missed. There was a question about school list of materials or things you may need to buy. Other than your backpack, the school provides all materials that you need. If you have a particular favorite pens or certain those types of things, certainly buy them, but the school provides all the different materials you need. So to close this out, if you all listen carefully, this is what I'd like you to do, because we really want to hear your voices. I would very much, particularly for those who have children on the call and have been so patient, if you can unmute yourself, and if I could hear from our elementary school students to say goodbye, I would really love to.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Bonne journée tout le monde.
Bye.
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 Bye. Yeah.
All right, bye-bye, everyone. Have a great one. Stay safe, everyone, please. Lorenzo and Christy, good to see you.